From Apple Valley News Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colberth.
Good Wednesday morning. Right now you're taking a live look at the Columbia River. This view coming courtesy of the Legends Casino and Hotel. A little bit later today, in fact, into the late afternoon to early evening, we could see some showers from that vantage point. Right now temperatures are cold as we're in the 20s for the Kittitas and Yakima valleys. You'll need the ice scraper there. In all likelihood, you'll probably need the same thing within the lower Columbia Basin, as most of us at this point are now below freezing. 28 degrees in the Tri-Cities, and some of us even in the foothills of the Blues probably need to, again, break out the ice scraper for this morning, turn on the defrost. And we're tracking, our mode's going to pivot a little bit because we're going to be tracking this rain and some of this mountain snow that's going to be impacting us from today through Friday. So definitely a different mode that we're about to go through. We'll be dry for most of the day in the Tri-Cities, but then after 5 p.m. that's when shower chances go up exponentially. And so for today in general, it's going to be a cool day. It's going to be a wet day, and this will again continue into Thursday and Friday. I'll tell you how much rain and snow we're expecting throughout the storm system, and that's going to be coming up on Good Morning Northwest, which starts right now.
Straight ahead on Good Morning Northwest, this year's fire season has officially been declared over, but we have what officials are still saying is still a requirement. Also, one Washington town is urging voters who used a specific ballot box to check the online status of their vote. This comes after a fire destroyed many of the ballots inside. With the details coming up on Good Morning Northwest, which starts right now.
This is Apple Valley News Now. Good Morning Northwest, on your side.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Good Morning Northwest. I'm Jessica Jalal. It is Wednesday, October 30th. Happy Wednesday. We're going to start off your top stories with fire watch. The Washington Department of Natural Resources announces an end to 2024's fire season. As of yesterday, the state is now at level 1, which means the season has closed for good. However, officials do say that fire equipment and fire watch service will still be required.
And that is reflective of what we're seeing as far as conditions on the ground. Those fuel moistures tend to be increasing, bringing that fire danger into a more manageable level. We also have precipitation in the forecast for most of the state, including central and eastern Washington. Should start seeing showers Wednesday and then potentially into the weekend this week.
As for Oregon, the Department of Forestry declared the end of its fire season back on October 21st. And officials say this season was particularly devastating for the east side of the state, with 1.9 million acres burned. Now, the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife's managed lands that were closed by the Retreat Fire in Yakima County are once again open. Some adjacent lands may still be restricted, which could affect hunting in the Oak Creek Basin and south of US 12. Also, the Oak Creek USFS 1400 Road and USFS 1302 Road are near Windy Point remain closed. Election officials in one Washington town want voters who used one ballot box to check the online status of their vote. And that's after a vandal set the box on fire and the ballots inside were lost. Emily Gersh says some Washington voters are taking precautions with their vote.
A lot of people voting in person at the Clark County Elections Office Monday after seeing this exclusive K2 video.
So I went, I'm not taking any chances. I just dropped my ballot.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that our vote got counted and that we didn't have to get a new ballot or anything.
Firefighters salvaged what ballots they could after hundreds went up in flames. The Clark County auditor says the ballot box was brand new and it had a fire suppression device inside, but apparently it didn't work. The last time the ballots were picked up from the box was Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. The elections office says it has no way of knowing which ballots were destroyed in the fire, and officials are counting on voters to come forward.
Not everybody's tuned into the local news world, or in this situation, the national news event.
Valerie Davis said she usually drops her ballot in that box.
And what worries me about Cascade Park is it's in close proximity to Fairway Village, which is where seniors are.
She's worried about how this will impact them.
There may be a lot of people that don't even know their ballots won't be counted, and that concerns me.
Now, there's no way to know exactly how many ballots were burned at this time. And as Election Day is just 1 week away, reminder we have an entire section dedicated to local, regional, and statewide information up on our website. Simply go to applevalleynewsnow.com. And remember, we will be with you on election night, live with results both on air and online. The Central Washington University dance team needs your support. They're set to compete at the USA Collegiate Nationals in Anaheim, California this February. It's their first time taking part, but to make this dream a reality, they're raising money to cover essential costs. This includes flights, hotels, and competition fees, and the goal is $10,000. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, many of the ballots in the Washington ballot box fire were destroyed, but many in the Portland fire are safe. We have a look at why that is coming up. But first, Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth will have your weather forecast. Keep it here. Good Morning Northwest. We'll be right back.
You get in a car wreck and call the insurance company and get nowhere. Stop wasting your time. Just make one more call to 853-2222. They can't ignore my demands to pay you all the money you deserve.
Call 853-2222.
Hi, I'm Carrie Isaacson, and I'm running for State Senate from the 16th District. Unlike my opponent, who's aligned with the extreme far right and anti-women's health care, I believe in practical solutions that put people first. I'll fight for better health care and good-paying jobs. I'm a moderate Democrat who believes that our district must be at the table in Olympia, and it's not. Vote Carrie Isaacson, State Senate.
Visit Fred's Appliance today and discover unbeatable deals on the largest selection of in-stock, get-it-today inventory in the region. Don't miss out on this limited-time offer to upgrade your kitchen with the Frigidaire Professional 4-piece package and save up to $3,100. Experience precision cooking with this Frigidaire range. Keep your dishes sparkling with this professional dishwasher. This sleek microwave offers sensor cooking technology, and this fabulous refrigerator designed with our Space Pro shelving system.
Hi, I'm Deb Mangeras, and as a longtime CPA, I can assure you, Olympia needs to tighten its belt. That's why I'm running for the House of Representatives. I've been a Wapato resident and apple orchardist all my life, and I have been active for decades in my community, helping make this a better place to live. Now I want to represent you in Olympia, to bring common sense and hardworking values to the Capitol.
Join me November 5th in voting for Deb Mangeras.
For 17 years, Senator Curtis King has delivered for you. That's why the media calls Curtis King the Republican in Olympia most likely to pass a bill. Senator King helped fund the Sozo Soccer Complex, giving local youth and adult soccer players a world-class recreational facility. Curtis King helped Perry Tech expand, providing thousands of local students with real-world skills, and he delivered funding for dozens of local road projects.
I'm Senator Curtis King, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
You get in a car wreck and call the insurance company and get nowhere. Stop wasting your time. Just make one more call to 853-2222. They can't ignore my demands to pay you all the money you deserve.
Call 853-2222.
E.T. and Extra, tonight at 7 on Apple Valley News Now.
Extra, extra.
From Apple Valley News Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. It is a cold start out there for this morning as we're below freezing in Ellensburg, so that's where you would want to break out the ice scraper. Then in the Yakima Valley, we're seeing temperatures that are mostly just in the 20s this morning, right at freezing in Grandview, 32 degrees there, but 20s for the rest of us. So you would also maybe have a frosty or frozen start there. The same thing for a handful of us in the lower Columbia Basin as we're below freezing in the Tri-Cities and up at the Hanford site and for Connell and for Boardman. And then in the foothills of the Blues, we are seeing some temperatures that are pretty close to freezing. Pendleton, Pilot Rock, 33, 34 respectively. And of course, much colder than that up in the higher terrain of the Blue Mountains. So all of us need a heavy jacket for this morning. By 8 this morning, still temperatures in the 30s, so it's going to be heavy jacket weather at that point. Maybe some light jacket weather by lunchtime, but you can see the clouds building, and we'll have essentially overcast skies at 4 p.m. and we will start to see some more prevalent showers. So for today, overall, showers are going to be likely. It's going to be a cool day. Will be a few degrees below average for this time of the year, and it will be breezy with winds gusting out of the south and southeast, but mostly for the Blue Foothills, the Blue Mountains, and for the Cascades. And then for tonight, it's going to be another cold one, and we'll have temperatures down into the 20s and 30s. So a lot of us, specifically in the valleys, would probably have to protect the outdoor pets, the plants, and the plumbing. Showers will be ongoing at this point, except for the valleys, but we have more wet weather to go into Thursday and into Friday. So I'll tell you how much rain and snow we're expecting from the storm system, and that's going to be coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Election officials in Western Oregon are raising concerns after someone stole a key that could open mailboxes in one community. Authorities found out about the break-in at the Marcola post office on Monday. That's in Lane County. Investigators say while the break-in does not appear to be election related, they're not taking any chances. The stolen key is able to access a mailbox in front of the post office as well as another mailbox in a nearby neighborhood. And officials say as a precaution, voters should not drop off their ballots at the post office and instead use an official ballot drop box at a different location. If voters did drop their ballots off already at the post office, they can check with election officials in Lane County to make sure their ballot was received. Andy Squire is one voter who's worried about his ballot.
It's crazy, right? So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. I want to know. So, I'll give it a couple days, keep checking, and then if I don't see anything change, I'll call and see if I need to get a new ballot.
The Lane County Sheriff's Office and the Postal Service are investigating the break-in. And looking now at images of steel ballot boxes, this is an example of the one that was set on fire in Portland Monday. These are made by a company called Laser Fab, and each box is made up of steel and can weigh up to 1,000 pounds. Many of the ballots in a drop box like this were unaffected. However, hundreds of ballots were destroyed in the ballot box fire near Vancouver, Washington. This company did not make that ballot box. Laser Fab builds and supplies more than 1,000 boxes that they call Vote Armor in 15 different states. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, an update on the case of the man who attacked the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. With the details on his sentence after the break.
Maria Cantwell knows prices are too high and we have to fight back. That's why she passed a law to take on big oil traders spiking gas prices, and why she's fighting grocery store mergers that would lead to higher food prices. Cantwell also took on drug companies and won, capping insulin for seniors at $35 a month and capping seniors' out-of-pocket expenses.
I'm Maria Cantwell, and I approve this message because I'll take on anyone to protect Northwest consumers.
Democrat candidate Maria Beltran led a liberal Seattle group that tried to defund police and allowed chaos and violence to take over the streets. Like Beltran, House candidates Anna Kennedy and Chelsea Demas oppose initiatives that would lower gas prices, end the capital income tax, and allow you to opt out of the expensive long-term care tax. Seattle liberals Maria Beltran, Anna Kennedy, and Chelsea Demas do not share your values and are too extreme for Central Washington.
The last few years have been tough on Washington families who are facing record prices, and wages just haven't kept up. But it's been a great few years for Congressman Dan Newhouse. Since he first got elected in 2015, his net worth has climbed from $2 million to almost $19 million. How'd he do that? By trading stocks of corporations that he votes to give billions of taxpayer dollars. It's time to put an end to Congressman Dan Newhouse's stock market hot streak.
I'm Jared Sessler, and I approve this message.
18 years, 32 years, 20 years, 35 years.
A job not only supports a family, but it gives you dignity. I'm Maria Beltran. With warehouses closing and hundreds of jobs lost, it's time we elect a fighter. Like so many of us, my family struggles to keep up with the cost of groceries and afford rent. Your family's struggles are my family's struggles. I'll work hard for you in Olympia.
Paid for by friends Maria Beltran.
Thank you guys for making Apple Valley News Now's Good Morning Northwest and ABC's Good Morning America the most watched morning news on local TV.
Thank you.
What's new, what's now, and what's next? Plus first alert weather every 10 minutes. Wake up with Apple Valley News Now.
We're on your side.
On your side.
You want to hear something spooky?
You're only one show away from Live's only Halloween in the building. Next Live, the Diplomats' Carrie Russell, plus the Crafty Lumberjacks.
Today at 9 on Apple Valley News Now. Judy Justice.
And I'm just getting started.
Today at 4 on Apple Valley News Now.
From Apple Valley News Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colberth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Showers are looking likely for today. As you can see, those shower chances are going to span from 80% to 100%. The time frame for this would be 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the valleys, after 4 p.m. for the basin, after 7 p.m. for the foothills, and then into tomorrow, including tomorrow evening, shower chances spanning still from 80% to 90%. We'll have more as we head into Friday. But for Thursday, I want to show you the timing because the timing's a little finicky, but I wanted to show you this model run of Futurecast. By 8 in the morning, some showers starting to impact Kittitas and Yakima counties, and then by lunchtime starting to get into the basin. Looks pretty widespread by dinner time and by trick-or-treating time. Now, it's not going to be a washout, but I think you'll probably have to dodge. In fact, most of us will probably have to dodge some wet weather if you're going to be out and about trick-or-treating for tomorrow night. Here's some of the water totals that we're expecting for today, tomorrow, and Friday, subject to change, but we could have upwards of 1.5 inches of water for the Cascades and Blues, between 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch for the basin, and between 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch for the valleys and foothills. Probably this is going to be the wettest storm system of the season thus far, and also there will be a wintry element to this, as by Thursday morning, snow levels could be down to aroand 3,000 feet. What does that mean? That means that we could have snowfall at Snoqualmie Pass. Here are some of the snowfall projections we're expecting over the next 48 hours. Of course, this is subject to change, but we are thinking that I-90, US 2, US 97 could receive 1 to 3 inches of snow. US 12 at White Pass, definitely the most impacted from the storm system, 6 to 8 inches of snow there. And for our Blue Mountain passes, probably less than an inch. So just a big heads up to anyone who's going to travel across Yakima County on US Highway 12. We could have more snow for Friday, but definitely the bulk of the snow is going to fall for Wednesday and Thursday. We have more storm systems to deal with for this weekend, but those are not looking as wet. High temperatures stay pretty cool and below average for the next week. Here's the 7-day forecast for the Tri-Cities. Wet weather continues for Halloween, Friday, and Saturday, turning a bit drier for Sunday and beyond. Then for Yakima, showers likely through Friday, turning drier for Saturday through Tuesday, staying chilly with highs in the 40s and 50s. Then for Ellensburg, cold showers likely through Friday, drier for Saturday and beyond, but staying crisp outside. Then for Hermiston, chances for rain will continue for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, drier by Sunday into next week. Then for Walla Walla, cool and wet through Saturday, not totally dry by Sunday, but starting to trend a bit drier.
Thank you, Josh. In your national news this morning, a growing number of news media outlets are facing fallout for declining to endorse a presidential candidate. Leaders are arguing they want to focus on reporting facts, not publishing opinions. However, critics are questioning the timing. Media giant Gannett is adding its more than 200 publications to the list, and a spokesperson says the papers want to provide trusted information. Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos makes a similar argument after declining to publish an endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris. The paper's own TikTok account is using satire to criticize the timing, and a number of Washington Post readers say they're canceling their subscriptions in outrage. Bezos agrees that his timing was poor, but denies a quid pro quo with the Trump campaign. A source with knowledge of Gannett's situation says its decision isn't recent, just the announcement. And the man who attacked the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. David DePape broke into the Pelosi home 2 years ago on October 28, 2022. Paul Pelosi, who was 82 at the time, called 911, and the attack was caught on police body cam video. DePape's state trial got underway in May, and he was found guilty in June. DePape faced 5 state counts, including aggravated kidnapping, resulting in bodily harm or death. He was earlier sentenced to 30 years for his federal conviction, and he'll serve the federal and state sentences concurrently, but it hasn't been decided where. Up next on Good Morning Northwest, it's been over 10 years since the last Scary Movie installment came out, and now there's news of a reboot. We have the details and other showbiz news after the break.
Back to school. That means more kids will be out in traffic when you least expect them. They don't know the rules of the road yet, but you do, so drive safely. This message is brought to you by Allen Brecky Law Offices.
The last few years have been tough on Washington families who are facing record prices, and wages just haven't kept up. But it's been a great few years for Congressman Dan Newhouse. Since he first got elected in 2015, his net worth has climbed from $2 million to almost $19 million. How'd he do that? By trading stocks of corporations that he votes to give billions of taxpayer dollars. It's time to put an end to Congressman Dan Newhouse's stock market hot streak.
I'm Jared Sessler, and I approve this message.
Who's ready to heal with love? I'm gonna sue you.
Your lawyers know where to find me.
Prosser Memorial Health reminds you, watch Grey's Anatomy Thursdays. Prosser Memorial Health, this is how we care.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. See your community Chevy dealers.
Hi, I'm Deb Mangeras, and as a longtime CPA, I can assure you, Olympia needs to tighten its belt. That's why I'm running for the House of Representatives. I've been a Wapato resident and apple orchardist all my life, and I have been active for decades in my community, helping make this a better place to live. Now I want to represent you in Olympia, to bring common sense and hardworking values to the Capitol.
Join me November 5th in voting for Deb Mangeras.
Save now with Bi-Mart's latest savings book, including bonus zone savings on Fran's cookies, extra laundry detergent, and Brown and Haley Rokas. Bi-Mart, saving our members more every day.
Fall is in the air, and that means getting back to school, putting outdoor toys away, and getting ready for winter sports. However, if an accident left you sidelined this summer, you should call Allen Brecky Law Offices. Call now. They're waiting to help you.
Hello there. Watch Live with Kelly and Mark.
Weekday mornings at 9 on Apple Valley News Now.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. In entertainment news, it's been over 20 years since Scary Movie came out and over 10 years since the last one. But now there's news about another one.
What's up? That's from Scary Movie, right?
Yep.
Also, a Wizards of Waverly Place reboot. So here's everything you need to know about what's happening in Hollywood.
I'm in the house. Do you know where I am?
You're behind the couch. I can see your feet.
What?
The latest film franchise to get a reboot, the Scary Movie horror spoof series. Marlon Wayans announcing the news on Instagram, writing we're back. After nearly 20 years, the Wayans brothers are finally going to give the fans what they've been asking for. The Scary Movie franchise started in 2000 and spawned 5 sequels.
Surprise!
What are you doing here, Alex? I don't teach wizards anymore.
But don't you miss it?
No. I don't even think about it every day.
Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, a sequel series to the Disney Channel series that launched Selena Gomez's career, arrives on Disney Plus Wednesday. At the premiere, Selena told ABC's Good Morning America about playing Alex Russo once more.
I think I was able to go back into Alex a little too quickly, but it was just, it's nostalgic. It feels so nice. I think in a weird way, that's how I was raised, and Alex is a fierce character.
Disney is the parent company of ABC News. And Happy Days and Barry star Henry Winkler is 79 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Tim Pulliam, ABC News, Los Angeles.
What's up?
We give a Fonz Dom as well.
Oh, yeah. And were you a fan of Wizards of Waverly Place growing up?
I was, yes.
Okay, so you watched a lot of it. I think I was kind of getting towards the end of Disney Channel days back then, but like I saw a little bit of it like back in the early days.
No,
I love Selena Gomez.
8-9-year-old me took any opportunity he could to watch Selena Gomez.
Oh my goodness, too cute. Well, coming up next on Good Morning Northwest at 6:30, a Yakima City employee who was accused of payroll fraud was fired over the summer after being on paid administrative leave. But now we're learning the employee never faced any discipline during her time with the city. Emily Goodell has that report in our next half hour.
Liberal Democrats Maria Beltran, Anna Kennedy, and Chelsea Demas support even no questions asked late-term abortions. They oppose measures that would lower taxes, make gas cheaper, and let you take home more of your paycheck. They would make your streets less safe, raise your gas prices, and encourage your children to disrespect faith, family, and America. Seattle liberals Maria Beltran, Anna Kennedy, and Chelsea Demas do not share your values and are too extreme for Central Washington.
Alice's birthday is coming up. We're in this comfy room in Triple Play Hotel so we can make plans without her hearing.
So we need a huge cake, a giant salad, and a good-sized mariachi band. Hold on a second. Does it seem a little dark in here for 2 p.m.?
Sorry, guys. Where I'm from, they didn't do birthdays. It's very exciting.
Triple Play has fun attractions for everyone, including bowling, a ropes course, and many more, all attached to a cozy hotel.
It's painfully obvious that Jared Sessler's 30% national sales tax will drive up prices. Prices will go up 30% on groceries, gas, bills, and even houses. Inflation is bad enough. Just imagine paying 30% more. Sessler supports a massive 30% tax increase on everything you buy. You can't afford Jared Sessler, Mr. 30%. National Interest Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Yakima County deserves a leader who listens and puts our community first.
Hi, I'm Kyle Curtis, honored to serve you as your Yakima County Commissioner.
Under Kyle's leadership, Yakima County has invested smartly in housing solutions, reduced homelessness, and streamlined local government to better serve you.
I'm eager to keep working on what matters most to our community.
Join me on November 5th in voting for Kyle Curtis for County Commissioner. Leadership that listens, leadership that delivers results.
The last few years have been tough on Washington families who are facing record prices, and wages just haven't kept up. But it's been a great few years for Congressman Dan Newhouse. Since he first got elected in 2015, his net worth has climbed from $2 million to almost $19 million. How'd he do that? By trading stocks of corporations that he votes to give billions of taxpayer dollars. It's time to put an end to Congressman Dan Newhouse's stock market hot streak.
I'm Jared Sessler, and I approve this message.
Save now with Bi-Mart's latest savings book. Watch for it in your mailbox or pick up a copy in store. Find our best savings as you walk in the door in the bonus zone. Owner's Choice bath tissue and paper towels are just $19.99 each. Fran's cookies are 2 for $5. Extra detergent is hot priced at $2 off. Plus pick up Brown and Haley Rokas for just $4.99. 16 pages of store-wide savings are going on now, only at Bi-Mart.
This newscast sponsored by Mariano Morales Law. This is Apple Valley News Now. Good morning, Northwest, on your side.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Good Morning Northwest. I'm Jessica Jalal.
And I'm Josh Colbert.
All right, Josh, tomorrow is Halloween. Everybody's planning their costumes, but they're going to have to put a raincoat on, aren't they? Because it's going to be raining.
Yes. So if you're Georgie from It, you know, he's got the raincoat
and the balloon
thing going. Yes. That would be a good costume
idea. That's a good one, yeah.
For
good
tomorrow
last
night.
minute costume idea right there.
Yes, but mainly because of the raincoat aspect, because we do have rainfall on the way. Let's go ahead and show you that, but first we're going to take a live look at Pasco. This view coming courtesy of the Dust Devils. You can see all the traffic flowing along, you know, just swell this morning on I-182. And a little bit later today from this viewpoint, specifically after 4 p.m., that's when we could maybe see some showers within the region, specifically within the Tri-Cities. But for right now, temperatures cold below freezing in the Kittitas and Yakima valleys. We're in the 20s, also in the 20s and 30s for the lower Columbia Basin. So in those areas, you would probably want to break out the ice scraper for this morning. We're pretty close to freezing in Pendleton, but about 10 degrees warmer than that in Walla Walla. So maybe some of us would also want to break out the ice scraper in the foothills of the Blues. But just keep in mind that all of us probably want a heavy jacket for this morning, maybe a rain raincoat a little bit later in the day as this storm system is looming off the Pacific coast, and eventually this will impact us. Like I said, in the Tri-Cities, mostly after 5 p.m. So heavy jacket stuff for this morning, light jacket stuff a little bit later in the day, then raincoat weather after 5 p.m. So for today, it's going to be cool, showers looking likely, and with all this rainfall on the way and snowfall on the way, I'll show you what could come of our rainfall and snowfall deficits, and that's going to be coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. In depth this morning, a Yakima City employee was charged with the felony and accused of payroll fraud in the amount of tens of thousands of dollars. She was only placed on paid administrative leave after an investigation by Apple Valley News Now earlier this year. She was then quietly fired over the summer, but after months of public records requests, our own Emily Goodell learned the employee never faced any other discipline during her time with the city.
I submitted multiple public records requests to the city of Yakima to see what, if any, investigations Jeanette Mora faced in response to the payroll fraud accusations and the off-duty assault of a fellow city employee last year. In total, records show Mora out on paid administrative leave 45% of the time in the year and a half between January 2023 and her termination this summer, costing the city over $56,000. The only records released about a formal investigation requested by the city into Mora's actions happening months after our reporting, and records officials noting there's no record of any sustained discipline for Mora. Reports of Mora's misconduct started in March 2023 when the police department found Mora had been logging full hours but only showing up 50% of the time for at least 3 months. Concerns then Yakima Police Chief Matt Murray brought up to Mora on March 28, 2023.
The more I looked, the more I found. Okay. And after having looked at several months of data, including card readers, cameras, it's pretty apparent that you're not here much.
Mora not fired but out of a job after the police department eliminated her position during budget cuts.
So it's clear to me that your position's not needed because you're just not here.
Mora reached an agreement with the city to get a payout for her unused vacation time for that position. But weeks later, she's somehow hired on again, this time as a public records officer for police and fire records. Exactly how that happened, we don't know, but the former police chief also claiming in a memo last fall, the city's human resources director, Connie Mendoza, had a close relationship with Mora. Mora's in her new position for less than a month before court documents say she turned up at a fellow city employee's house, intoxicated with a gun and accusing the other woman of withholding information from her. According to the documents, Mora assaulted the employee during a struggle over the gun, and Mora was later arrested and taken to the hospital for mental health treatment. Payroll records show the city placed Mora on paid administrative leave again for several weeks. The city hasn't provided any records of them further investigating the matter immediately after it happened last year. In the meantime, Mora back at work in late September while Kennewick police continue the criminal investigation. It wasn't until January 19th of this year that Mora charged with burglary, assault with sexual motivation, and reckless endangerment in the case involving the other city employee. But a week later, she still hadn't been placed on administrative leave, prompting Yakima Police Patrolmen's Association Vice President Scott Grant to speak up on behalf of the union.
We were just hoping that once she was formally charged with the crimes that they would have the evidence they needed, that they would actually take the steps to place her on admin leave and eventually remove her. But when it was apparently clear that they had knowledge that she was being charged and still didn't do anything, that's why we're talking now.
It wasn't until a week after we aired our investigation that the city placed Mora on administrative leave again on February 2nd. It appears it was only on March 7th of this year, 6 months after the reported assault, that the city hired an outside investigator to look into it. The investigator, attorney Amanda Butler, in her final report issued on June 27th, says Mora declined to speak with her. But after reviewing evidence and interviewing the victim, she found it more probable than not that Mora's conduct ran afoul of provisions in the city's municipal code. Mora's contract terminated a month later on July 18th after nearly 19 weeks of paid admin leave.
I think my biggest question is, why is she so untouchable? Why is she being protected so much? I don't understand why she's being treated so differently than any other city employee is.
I reached out to city spokesperson Randy Beeler, who told me that the attorney with the most information about this case is currently on vacation, but that the city would be able to speak with me about this case after the attorney returns next week. Reporting from the Yakima newsroom, Emily Goodell, Apple Valley News Now.
Thank you, Emily. Turning to Pasco now, City Councilman Leo Perales is sharing news about the Tri-City Animal Shelter Advisory Board. The council addressed the issue Monday night during their regular city council meeting, and he tells us the city has chosen not to lead the effort in exploring a Tri-City Animal Shelter Advisory Board. It's a decision, he says, is marked by bureaucracy and a lack of vision. Perales also says that he wants to begin advocating directly to the city managers and councils of neighboring municipalities and work alongside them and alongside everyone who supports bringing change for the shelter community. The city of Umatilla held a ribbon cutting for the reopening of Nugent Park yesterday. Now, for the last 2 years, the baseball field has gotten revamped in the infield and outfield, and including getting a new scoreboard, but the biggest change revealed is the new play area. It replaces the old playground equipment, which was more than 50 years old. It has a squishy ground cover that makes it safer for kids, especially for when they climb around the new equipment.
So the playground here was built just after World War II so late 40s, early 50s. Nobody knows the exact date. One of the great aspects of it is that it's accessible to everybody, and we're really proud of that.
It's the best.
Also, there is a new outdoor kitchen facility and a brand new large outdoor pavilion with power, water, and barbecues. The city says the best part is that all of the new attractions are ADA compliant, meaning they're built to ensure that people of all abilities are able to enjoy them. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, Veterans Day is just around the corner, and in Kennewick, veterans from the Vietnam War, along with community members, honored local vets with the rededication. Our Dan Hansen with that story is up next.
Be sure and vote. Mail-in ballots must be postmarked by 8 Tuesday night.
The last few years have been tough on Washington families who are facing record prices, and wages just haven't kept up. But it's been a great few years for Congressman Dan Newhouse. Since he first got elected in 2015, his net worth has climbed from $2 million to almost $19 million. How'd he do that? By trading stocks of corporations that he votes to give billions of taxpayer dollars. It's time to put an end to Congressman Dan Newhouse's stock market hot streak.
I'm Jared Sessler, and I approve this message.
Democrat candidate Maria Beltran led a liberal Seattle group that tried to defund police and allowed chaos and violence to take over the streets. Like Beltran, House candidates Anna Kennedy and Chelsea Demas oppose initiatives that would lower gas prices, end the capital income tax, and allow you to opt out of the expensive long-term care tax. Seattle liberals Maria Beltran, Anna Kennedy, and Chelsea Demas do not share your values and are too extreme for Central Washington.
Nutcracker Magical Christmas Ballet celebrates the season with America's favorite holiday tradition. Gather your loved ones and be enchanted by an all-star international cast. Returning to the Capitol Theater November 18th and 19th. Tickets at nutcracker.com.
Who's ready to heal with love?
I'm gonna sue you.
Your lawyers know where to find me.
Prosser Memorial Health reminds you, watch Grey's Anatomy Thursdays. Prosser Memorial Health, this is how we care.
For 17 years, Senator Curtis King has delivered for you. That's why the media calls Curtis King the Republican in Olympia most likely to pass a bill. Senator King helped fund the Sozo Soccer Complex, giving local youth and adult soccer players a world-class recreational facility. Curtis King helped Perry Tech expand, providing thousands of local students with real-world skills, and he delivered funding for dozens of local road projects.
I'm Senator Curtis King, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb Mangeras, and as a longtime CPA, I can assure you, Olympia needs to tighten its belt. That's why I'm running for the House of Representatives. I've been a Wapato resident and apple orchardist all my life, and I have been active for decades in my community, helping make this a better place to live. Now I want to represent you in Olympia, to bring common sense and hardworking values to the Capitol.
Join me November 5th in voting for Deb Mangeras.
Apple Valley News Now is home to top shows from ABC like 911, the all-new Dr. Odyssey, and The Golden Bachelorette. And Apple Valley News Now is home to the #1 local morning newscast.
Now that's good.
Good Morning Northwest, followed by Good Morning America. Plus, we lead the way in sports with NFL Monday Night Football, college football, including the SEC, and the Seattle Kraken. Apple Valley News Now, proudly serving South Central Washington and Northern Oregon.
And we are on your side.
From Apple Valley News Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colberth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Let's take you on a forecast tour for today, starting off in Kittitas County, where high temperatures are going to stall out in the 40s. We'll have showers really throughout the day in the Cascades, but impacting the valleys from about 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Light winds in the valley, but up in the Cascades, they could gust out of the east and southeast upwards of 20-25 miles per hour. Then in the Yakima Valley, also light winds here. High temperatures up around 50 degrees, and the time frame is going to be similar for rainfall. 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then for the lower Columbia Basin, it's mostly going to be after 4 p.m. in which we'll see the best chances for wet weather here. High temperatures in the low to mid 50s, 56 in the Tri-Cities, 50 for Boardman. Light winds in the basin, but in the foothills, similar to the Cascades and also with the Blues, we'll have winds gusting out of the south and east upwards of maybe 25 miles per hour. And in the foothills, it's mostly going to be after 7 p.m. in which we'll see the best chances for wet weather. Speaking of wet weather, here are some of the impacts we're expecting from this storm system, kind of the more meta impacts, the big picture impacts. Here are the rainfall deficits that we're going to have heading into the storm system. And we're thinking that this storm system, in the wake of it, will see about 80 to 100% improvements for the valley, 60 to 80% improvements for the basin, 50% improvements for the foothills. And then in terms of our snowpack, 15 to 50% improvements for the upper Yakima, Walla Walla, and Umatilla basins. But we will see some even better improvements potentially in the Natchez Basin.
Thank you, Josh. All right, check this out. Veterans Day is just around the corner, and in Kennewick, veterans from the Vietnam War and community members honored local Vietnam vets with the rededication of a longtime memorial. Apple Valley News Now's Dan Hansen says this is a story that people of all ages can learn from.
Historically, Vietnam veterans were not welcomed back from war very warmly. However, a local group of Vietnam veterans rallied the community and the city to make sure these 63 Vietnam veterans who paid the ultimate sacrifice were not forgotten. Veterans of the Vietnam War, along with community members, gathered at the base of the cable bridge to dedicate a new flagpole after the previous one was destroyed in 2004 after a drunk driver crashed into it. Kevin Velicky, a Marine and Vietnam vet himself, says he started out just printing roses and wanted to do more.
This started a couple years ago with the old flagpole not working and it needed to be replaced, so several of us raised some money, got a contractor to step up, as you heard, to help us replace it.
Velicky, along with the Port of Kennewick, the City of Kennewick, and Combat Veterans International Pasco chapter, worked hard to get the flagpole functioning again. Dana Dollarhide, lead communications specialist with the City of Kennewick, says the city couldn't do this without the efforts of Velicky and his team. Dollarhide says, as a person who comes from a family of Vietnam vets, events like this are important.
These memorials are kind of a reflection of the honor that they did serve and the significance of their time served overseas.
Dollarhide says she hopes we can continue to honor those Vietnam vets who gave their lives for this country.
Today, there are 63 names on the stone. We began with 51.
This isn't the only Vietnam veteran memorial. There are many scattered out through the city of Kennewick. And for more information on where those are, just visit our website, applevalleynewsnow.com.
Thank you, Dan. And coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, Hurricane Helene is still causing disruptions. We're learning that patients are half as likely to get IV fluids than they were before the storm. We have that story and more coming up in your morning sprint. But first, Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth will have your full weather forecast.
Initiative 2124. It's purposely misleading. So here's what you need to know. Independent analysts say if I-2124 passes, it will bankrupt our affordable long-term care benefit, leaving millions of Washingtonians with no options but private insurance that charges way too much and routinely denies coverage to millions with pre-existing conditions. Don't let it happen. Protect your long-term care benefits. Vote no on I-2124.
Too many
politicians are too busy fighting each other, but I just want to get things done to make people's lives better. I'm Maria Cantwell. I led a bipartisan initiative to bring computer chip manufacturing and other supply chains back to America, generating billions in private sector investment to make the chips that run our cars, our appliances, and even our farm equipment, creating jobs, boosting our competitiveness, and lowering costs. It's beginning to work. That's why I approve this message.
Hi, I'm Deb Mangeras, and as a longtime CPA, I can assure you, Olympia needs to tighten its belt. That's why I'm running for the House of Representatives. I've been a Wapato resident and apple orchardist all my life, and I have been active for decades in my community, helping make this a better place to live. Now I want to represent you in Olympia, to bring common sense and hardworking values to the Capitol.
Join me November 5th in voting for Deb Mangeras.
You love the internet. But do you love your internet? Is your bundle a bundle of joy? Do you celebrate your contract's anniversary? No? You should meet Ziply Fiber. High-speed fiber optic internet means more freedom, more reliability, more speed on all your family's devices, all at the same time. Happily ever faster. Ziply Fiber. Call 1-888-GO-ZIPLY or visit ziplyfiber.com/GoZiply. Plans as low as $10 a month.
27 years ago, I lived in these apartments. And for 27 years, I've seen streets go without repair. I've seen places like Columbia Fruit Packers lay off workers. Some of my neighbors have driven to Seattle for decent medical care because MAGA extremists like my opponent Deb care more about power and controlling women's bodies than getting results. I am ready to go to the west side because it's time to get results for the east side. I hope to earn your vote.
For 17 years, Senator Curtis King has delivered for you. That's why the media calls Curtis King the Republican in Olympia most likely to pass a bill. Senator King uses those relationships to do things like fund a new swimming pool in Yakima's MLK Park and helped Heritage University in the Lower Valley grow. Curtis King helped Toppenish Astria Hospital keep their doors open. And he delivered funding for Pasco's Lewis Street project.
I'm Senator Curtis King, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
ET and Extra, tonight at 7 on Apple Valley News Now.
Extra, extra. From Apple Valley News Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colberth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Today is going to be a wet day. As for today and this evening, shower chances span anywhere from 80% to 100%. So the time frame for that for the valleys would be from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. For the basin, it would mostly be after 4 p.m. And then for Walla Walla in the foothills, it would mostly be after 7 p.m. And then into Thursday and Thursday evening, looks like shower chances stay elevated between 80 to 90%. We'll go ahead and show you the timing of tomorrow with Futurecast. This is just one model iteration. Models are sort of all over the place when it comes to timing for tomorrow, but we stopped this at 8 in the morning. You can see showers starting to billow up in Yakima County and Kittitas County, and then by the time we get to dinner time, around dinner time, 5 p.m., pretty widespread stuff at this point, and that could continue into the evening hours. So if you're going to be out and about trick-or-treating with the little ones, just know you're probably going to have to dodge some wet weather, although it will not be a washout. So if you had to tabulate some of the rainfall projections that we're expecting from today, tomorrow, and Friday, well, this is going to be one of the wettest storm systems we've seen thus far in the early wet season. We could have upwards of 1.5 inches of water for the Cascades and Blues, between 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch for the basin, and between 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch for the valleys and foothills. So beneficial stuff. And there will be a wintry element to the storm system, as by Thursday morning, snow levels could fall all the way down to around 3,000 feet. So places like Snoqualmie Pass and Sadis Pass could see that transition to snow. Speaking of that, I-90, US 2, US 97 expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow over the next 48 hours, maybe 6 to 8 inches on US 12, probably less than an inch for Blue Mountain passes. So where you would have to be most wary of travel would be across US 12, across Yakima County. And we are expecting a little bit more snow for Friday, but probably less than an inch of additional snowfall for a Cascade and Blue Mountain passes. We do have more storm systems to deal with for this weekend, but overall they're looking drier. High temperatures staying pretty cool and below normal for the next 7 days. Here's the 7-day forecast for the Tri-Cities. Wet weather continues for Halloween, Friday and Saturday, turning a bit drier for Sunday and beyond. Then in Yakima, showers likely through Friday, turning drier for Saturday through Tuesday, staying chilly with highs in the 40s and 50s. Then in Ellensburg, cold showers likely through Friday, drier for Saturday and beyond, but staying crisp outside. Then in Hermiston, chances for rain will continue for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, drier by Sunday into next week. Then for Walla Walla, cool and wet Thursday through Saturday, not totally dry by Sunday, but starting to trend a bit drier. Now let's head out to New York City to see what's ahead on Good Morning America.
In this morning's GMA First Look, a major development in the alleged au pair love triangle murder case.
Today's agreement marks a significant step forward in this case.
This body camera video showing Juliana Paresh Magallonge moments after the murder of Christine Banfield and Joe Ryan.
Then he said, no, police don't drop the knife, and he was saying, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
We found Joseph Ryan deceased as a result of gunshot wounds and found Christine Banfield suffering from stab wounds.
Paresh Magallonge now pleading guilty to manslaughter for Joe Ryan's death, agreeing to testify against her former boss and lover, Brendan Banfield, who is charged for both murders. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll tell you what's next as the cases unfold. With your GMA First Look, I'm Eva Pilgrim, ABC News, New York.
RSV can severely affect the lungs and lower airways.
But I'm protected with Arexvy.
Arexvy is a vaccine used to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. RSV can be serious for those over 60, including those with asthma, diabetes, COPD, and certain other conditions.
But I'm protected.
Arexvy is proven to be over 82% effective in preventing lower respiratory disease from RSV, and over 94% effective in those with these health conditions. Arexvy does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients. Those with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most common side effects are injection site pain, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, and joint pain. Arexvy is #1 in RSV vaccine shots. RSV, make it Arexvy.
Now, the morning sprint.
Time is now 6:51. It's time for your 6 o'clock morning sprint. We're going to start off in your national headlines. Tesla could find itself in trouble for a chemical spill in Palo Alto, California. The spill involved more than 900 gallons of a solution containing sodium hydroxide. The Office of Emergency Services said some kind of chemical used to cool the Tesla AI supercomputer was released, and it apparently happened due to a mistake while crews were draining the Tesla system. Officials say the chemical does not pose a risk to life or health. However, it appears Tesla did not have a city permit to store the chemical. In business news, McDonald's is talking with investors about the E. coli outbreak that's keeping customers out of its restaurants as visits to McDonald's went down 10% nationwide last week. Earlier this week, the company reported all the contaminated products related to the outbreak have been taken out of the supply chain and restaurants. McDonald's is back to selling the quarter pounders again this week. Starbucks is scrapping its controversial olive oil infused drinks less than a year after they debuted nationwide. The lineup of Oleato drinks will be eliminated from its menus in the U.S. and Canada beginning in early November. And according to one source, it's part of the chain's broader effort to simplify the menu. In health news, patients visiting emergency departments for dehydration or nausea are half as likely to get IV fluids as they were before Hurricane Helene. The storm disrupted the North Carolina manufacturing facility that provides about 60% of IV fluids to hospitals nationwide, and the disruptions continue to lead to multiple new shortages. In sports news, a foul ball turned into a foul situation during the World Series. Take a look at this. Dodgers outfielder Mookie Betts tried to make the catch on the Gleyber Torres fly ball. Everything looks like it's lining up right, but a fan tries to rip the ball off of Betts' glove in the middle of the catch, and you can't do that. Torres was called out due to fan interference, and the fans were ejected from the game. Now to your top 5 local stories you need to know this morning. The Washington Department of Natural Resources announces an end to 2024's fire season. And the state is now at level 1, which means the season has closed for good. However, officials say that fire equipment and fire watch service will still be required. And in Oregon, the Department of Forestry declared the end of its fire season back on October 21st. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife's managed lands that were closed by the Retreat Fire in Yakima County are once again open, but some adjacent lands may still be restricted, which could affect hunting in the Oak Creek Basin and south of US 12. Also, the Oak Creek USFS 1400 Road and USFS 1302 Road near Windy Point remains closed. And what you're seeing on your screen now are pictures of the ballots that were burned near Vancouver, Washington, after someone set fire to the ballot box. This happened also in Portland, Oregon, but many of those ballots were unaffected. Authorities believe this case is related to a third incident from earlier this month, also in Vancouver, and police are still looking for the suspect or suspects. And today officials will begin searching through the damaged ballots for voter information to contact them about getting a new ballot. The city of Umatilla held a ribbon cutting for the reopening of Nugent Park. The baseball field has been revamped, both the infield and the outfield. They have a new scoreboard, a new play area that's safer for kids, and new outdoor areas for events. The city says the best part is that all of the new attractions are ADA compliant. And Pasco City Councilman Leo Perales says the city has chosen not to lead the effort in exploring a Tri-City Animal Shelter Advisory Board. Perales says it's a decision that's marked by bureaucracy and a lack of vision. He says he wants to advocate directly to city managers and councils of neighboring municipalities. He also says he wants to work with everyone who supports bringing change to the animal shelter community. All right, check this out. Halloween is tomorrow, but today on Halloween Eve, the country is celebrating one of the holiday's most signature candies. What is it, Josh?
It is, unfortunately, National Candy Corn Day. The sweet treat first debuted in the late 1880s, where it belongs.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people that likes candy corn, and candy corn's creator, George Renninger, initially made candy corn to resemble corn kernels, and back then the candy's colors featured yellow, orange, and white.
But candy corn has evolved over the years. People have tried to add different looks and flavors to candy corn, but back in 2012, candy corn Oreos made their debut.
Does that sound like something that would be good to you?
No, but it sounds like something that Oreo would do.
Is that a bad thing? Well, Oreos always comes out.
Yeah, they come out with like watermelon Oreos, and you know that's kind of their shtick. So
I know. Well, I mean, it sounds good to me. But does the weather sound good to us? Not really, right?
To each their own. I know it's not going to sound good to you because you don't like cold weather.
Or for trick-or-treaters because it's going to be raining.
Right, right. So we'll touch on that here in a second. First, let's go back to talking about the cold. Current temperatures right now in the 20s in the Kittitas and Yakima Valleys, 20s and 30s in the lower Columbia Basin. So in those areas, you would probably have to break out the ice scraper for this morning. But for the most part, just a little too warm for that in the foothills of the Blues. There is the aforementioned storm system that's going to bring us the wet weather for today and tomorrow and for Friday. So for today, it's going to be cool. Highs are going to be stuck in the 40s and 50s. Will be a few degrees below average for this time of the year. Showers looking likely. Here's the time frame of the showers: 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. roughly for the valleys, after 4 p.m. for the basin, and after 7 p.m. for the foothills. And in terms of snowfall that we're expecting over the next 48 hours, I-90, US 2, US 97, 1 to 3 inches, US 12, White Pass, 6 to 8 inches, and then less than an inch for Blue Mountain passes. So specifically, if you're going to be traveling over US 12 in Yakima County, just please travel with caution.
And thank you guys for watching Good Morning Northwest. You can always find the latest updates on our website. That's applevalley.newsnow.com.
Good Morning America is up next, and we'll be back with your local news and weather tonight at 5. Have a good one.